right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. We gotta at least look at BBAI one more time. My goodness, what a lovely few days, right? I know it's really easy to focus on the 26%. It's really easy to focus on this massive uptrend. I can't stop looking at volume down here. I really can't. As I zoom out, I feel like I talked about it for about 5 minutes on the last video. Look, this, what was it, 2 days ago, was by far the biggest volume ever since the stock was created in public, right? That's monster. If you can, volume is king, right? Volume is queen for the ladies watching this. And if you're gonna get your biggest volume day ever, that's always gonna perk my attention. When the next 2 days, if you remove this, would have been the biggest volumes, and basically we are now established. Sorry to zoom in and out so much, but we're establishing ourselves from like a little random pop here to a little bit more of a sustained 40 to now a nicer little bit of a 80 to all of a sudden we're living near 200 million. I mean, there's some crazy volume things happening right here, and hey, lo and behold, we're seeing how much it accelerates what is all on its own really good technicals, right? So a bunch of different things I could be talking about here. I'm gonna try not to ramble too hard, but yeah, this is what continuation looks like. This is what above all five and fly looks like. This is what breaking that monster 432 resistance line that we were talking about for months and months and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, right? Like, oh man, this was the perfect little 2x and 3-4 day move, you know what I mean? So lovely to see it, and really again, it's going to be emphasized and magnetized that, whatever, by volume. All right, I think the next one that we got to look at is BFRG, Bullfrog AI. All right. In the Discord, someone mentioned it yesterday. I know, boom, it was I just sharded. Nice. Look, the question was, is it next? Today, just a little bit before the close, I actually saw it come up on a scanner. I thought it might copy BBAI, and I'll kind of go over that, right? But hey, just looking at regular hours, right? That's a nice candle right there. That is the biggest, it's over the biggest candle to the left. We get over that resistance, and I think more important than any of that, all over all five moving averages, right? So as I zoom out, it's been a bit since we've been over that 200, right? Basically middle of the year, early third of the year, right? So let's see if it confirms. We can't get too excited on a single candle, but hey, look, SoundHound went crazy, right? SoundHound went from down here in the twos all the way to up here in the 15s, let alone the fact that it kissed 20 not that long before that, right? BBAI looks like it's the next one to start following. Obviously didn't take off as quickly, right? But hey, it's starting to take off, and now we're seeing a nice little 4x, right? There is nothing wrong with missing the first one. Don't get angry, don't get sad, don't get disappointed, don't give up. Start finding the copycat, and hey, if you can't find the second copycat, BFRG, let's try to find the third one, right? And you can see this one hasn't gotten over that 200 moving average since about the beginning of the year. And hey, maybe those are the exact same words I just said, right? So that's what we're kind of hunting with this one right here, right? There's no guarantee. This is definitely just a single candle. I for sure see it going up after hours. It's nice to see it actually wicked my 334 line sometime during after hours, right? You see the wick didn't happen until after hours. So some attention might be coming here, and let's see if it does, right? What was the last one I wanted to look at? SMCI. That's the last one I wanted to look at. Look, I remember this gap down and just continuation like it was yesterday, all right? Big recover excuse me, big recovery. Doesn't quite tank, right? Red, green could have been a horrible red. Instead, we're holding the MAs. We're coming to a pivotal place. And look, if you can break the 100, 200 is all the way up here at 55 bucks. All right. So there's no guarantee. You can see the difficulty of the blue line. We tried. We're trying. Let's see what happens with it, right? But some decent lower indicators down here. Not quite a true sector review on this one, but I think this is an interesting 1, 2, 3 to say the least, all right? So, cool. I think that's perfect here. Before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? I got something stuck in my throat. I'm going to drink some water. Let me pause this real quick. I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, that's much better. Cool. Okay, so look, you know I have so many different things I want to say about this daily chart. There's actually a lot I want to say about this weekly chart. Where I really want to start is the NASDAQ, okay? When I look at this NASDAQ, and I'm zooming in to just kind of look at the immediate, I'm not seeing great things here, okay? And I'm not liking this candle down instead of what looked like a good setup going into next week. I'm not liking the red over green and red over green and what looks like a bad divergence of green going down and away instead of it diverging up and away, right? So these have me a little bit worried. Now, obviously, you hear me say it all the time. You can't get too excited about a single candle up. You can't get too worried about a single candle down. But yesterday, I know for a fact on the Discord, I said, oh, I like what NASDAQ looks like. It is setting up for a good next week. And my. You know, I normally say, let's ignore Friday, and I'm a little looser with my Friday rules. That's a real big 1.3% drop, let alone the big candle, let alone losing 3 moving averages on a single one, right? So I'm annoyed. I'm definitely a little cautious going into next week, and I'm more cautious than I would have been. I'm telling you, yesterday I was ready to see it go, you know. So that excitement is just a little throttled looking at this chart. That said, all those tickers that we're going to talk about today, they're set up well if there's a recovery, all right? When we look at the S&P 500, I would say similar thoughts, but not as bad. Look, again, yesterday I was really excited. I expected us to go, you know? Instead, we have a rather ugly candle. We have a rather big percent, even though it kind of looks little in retrospect. I'm glad we didn't at least lose 3 moving averages here, but again, you get it. Like this is more annoying and bothersome than it is go going into next week, all right? I'm going to say it one last time before I start reviewing the tickers, BBAI and the other one specifically. I like what the other ones look like, but I am always here respecting the index and then going from there, right? There was actually a real good conversation in the Discord. Someone today, James, if I'm not mistaken, said that he actually stopped kind of looking at the index, right? Like he's seeing, I don't know if it's tech stocks, I don't know if it's you know, non-tech stocks or whatever, but he's seeing good setups, odd index, I'm gonna ignore the index and keep going, you know. Personally, I don't agree with that, but hey, if the money's there, it's working and you're making good trades, who cares what I think? I'm just some dude talking on YouTube with a mic, you know what I mean? So but yeah, these have me a little more annoyed than I'd like. I'm loving what I see with BBAI though, right? So again, you know I'm going to talk about the technicals and the lines shortly. This is incredible volume. All right, I'm zooming out just a bit. I think this is more than enough. Look, yesterday, which was basically let's call it a 30% loss of volume. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it right there. Yesterday would have been the biggest volume day in trading history. If that candle didn't happen, yesterday and today would have been an amazing back to back, right? So I'm less looking at the downtrend and the downtrend. I'm more looking at a sustained new level of volume. Now, granted, 3 days might be a little too cavalier to use the word sustained. In my head, you pump and dump or you hold. You know what I mean? And hey, so far BBAI is on the right side of that equation, right? Excuse me, sorry. I really like what we saw in the close the next day in the open. And to me, it was all that resistance line right there, right? So big candle right here, actually taking out two resistance lines. Makes sense to me that it's going to need to cool down a little bit. Look, again, normally I would talk about the fact that it gapped up and opened right here at 780 and fell all the way down there and, things like that. But my goodness, we held significantly the candle, right? Normally I'm worried if we lose 50%. I don't even think we lost 10 to 15% with this red candle, right? Yeah, we definitely closed under the line. But again, when you take two on a single candle, I'm worried you're going to lose both on a single candle, not basically hold this one right here, right? So from there, we just kind of take it, we continue, and like I said, the volume was better than yesterday. Doesn't quite beat the biggest day, but that's fine with me. We are living near 200 million as opposed to trying to hit 100 million, and I think fair to say we were living near the 30, 40, 50 million number, right? So big volume, big moves. And again, you hear me say it all the time. I know it sounds like just a little silly rhyme and like this and that, right? But red, green, red, green, red, nothing. And even down here, nothing makes it so easy to just green on up like we are, right? So this is just lovely. You know what I mean? Look, I at least am gonna say the RSI is a little high. For sure it is. 83 is a little high, right? But just look what that 3-day window did, right? On Wednesday, look in the box over there. The RSI got to 81. On Thursday, it decides to come down back to a healthy 74. And then today, it decides to go back up to that 83 that we see. You know what I mean? So it's learning to live up here. It's learning to cool down and take off back to like they're like RSI is a little high, and I'm for sure gonna at least call it out, right? But oh man, that's a beautiful divergence on the MACD. That's just some, again, look at the volume, right? Just that alone right there. That's nice right there, right? Even that right there is real nice, right? So, yeah, a lot is going on. If you watched the last video, I know I said that somewhere around here, look, that's basically where I'm clicking 850. Somewhere around 850 might be a little bit of a resistance. I didn't draw the line. I didn't think I needed to, and I still actually don't. I mean, I have from here to here for a reason. Let's see if it does. Again, I'm going to say it one more time on this video. That 850, oops, sorry. That like little range right there looks like it could do something. So far, that's where we're sitting. I do see us going up after hours. I think I care a little less about that. I don't think that's really worth mentioning. I do see it, but I don't think that's too much. Again, look, there was a U.S. Navy contract that was announced, I think, earlier in the week, if not for sure by sometime last week, right? So there's a splash of fundamental here. There's some really good technicals here, and then there's the best volume the stock has ever had, 3 consistent days in a row. That 3 combined, oh my goodness, right? When we look at the weekly, okay, look at this thing again, right? Because now, so let's start up here actually. Looky what I'm seeing. 200 moving average on the weekly has just formed. It has broken. We're over all 5 on the daily. We're over all 5 on the weekly. Look, some might say it's a little loose for me to say that's the break and that's the confirmation. I think for now, I'm even willing to say this is the break and let's see if it confirms. Really, it's the same thought because what I actually want to see is what does next week's volume look like? As excited as I was that we got 3 days in a row, let's see what the next 2-3 weeks in a row looks like, right? I would be okay basically mimicking this, I think I would say, right? So we were up here at 270, we fell down here to basically 170, right? So I think if we're up, I would say that's about the fall. Look, I would like to get, let's call it 500 million shares in a week, okay? So if I need, okay, in a week, we have 5 days. and there are 7 hours in each day, so there's 35 hours in the trading week. I need 500 million shares in 35 hours. Every hour on BBAI needs to be at 15 million shares or higher. If we can do that, I'm cool going into the weekly volume. All right. Normally I do this little calculator thing on the daily, right? But what we're going to do is do that on the weekly. Um, yeah, look, there's a lot to like here. And again, what I see this overall being is look, sound hound. I'm zooming out to here. No, let's even just zoom it out to, no, yeah, that's fine. That's the view. Look, starting in October, it went. All right, BBAI. Nothing happening in October. Nothing really happening in early November. It's now starting to take off kind of late November till today, right? So you miss Soundhound, it's okay. You come to BBAI. Maybe the next one that we're going to look at, oh, obviously that one is BBAI. Maybe the next one that we're going to look at is the copycat to this one, all right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into Guard Force no, not Guard Force. Okay, look, Guard Force is another one. I'm looking in the back of my head. This is not going to be about it, right? But there's a cluster of moving averages. If this thing can get over the 200 moving average, I would be real interested. I think that's a decent alert. There's no such thing as safe, but I think if you wait for 195, that might not be a bad thing. Let's actually set an alert. An alert's not immediate buy notification. It's a come check it out. What we're going to talk about is bullfrog. Okay, look, just like that little ticker I just found, even just like BBAI, Bullfrog is another one of the small random AIs in the sector. All right, I have absolutely no idea what contracts this thing has. I have absolutely no idea what their actual AI technology is. All I see are two things. Three things, all right? Four things as I zoom out and look at all of it, all right? And this after hours pop isn't even one of the four things, all right? I mentioned that in the opening thoughts, okay? First thing I see, is a real attempt at breaking all five moving averages. All right, I'll talk about that shortly. Second thing I see, that's a big volume right there. I wanted to zoom out. Okay, we've seen some bigger volumes here. We're nowhere near that biggest volume ever like we were looking at BBAI. I actually didn't know that. So I'll take the volume thing aside. But I'm looking at this at the minimum since that single little anomaly right here. What was this volume? Am I on the right one? Dun, 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 dun. This one. What was your volume? 3.6. This was 3.7. So this was actually more than that thing right there. So this has been the biggest volume day, I think, arguably since this little peak right here in January, right? So a year in change since we've had this kind of volume right here. That's not too bad, actually, right? Next thing I was looking at is this right here. It's a nice MACD and RSI. And then just like I said, one more time, I said it, I'm going to do it the same way. Soundhound started taking off in October and went. All right. BBAI started taking off in November and then went. Can Guard Force start taking off? I keep going to Guard Force, BFRG. Can Bullfrog start taking off now? Right, and that's what we're looking for. You can see, this is one I remember so many little runs on this ticker. I do. I love me the AI stocks. I love me the tech stocks. Right, so these are old lines. I think these are still pretty good lines. Please do not have 750 dreams on a $2 stock. Right, I even think this 530 might be a little aggressive, but really, it's all about what 334 does next, okay? I think before you can even think 334, let's talk a little bit about the immediate, right? So a lot of it is this 200 moving average. Trying to break it, trying to break it, trying to break it. Getting better, getting better, getting better. Definitely over and fail, definitely over and fail, definitely can still be over and fail, right? So no guarantees, nothing is certain for sure, but what I think all of this screams is two things. We've been trying to break this thing for 2 months. we for sure need some good confirmation here because we've been fooled way too many times in that 2 months, right? So I think this after hours move is a little more positive for sure. Don't get me wrong. I think this one I'm noticing probably a little more than the BBAI one, but yeah, hey, give me confirmation, make me believe, and then that's where we'll start talking about these lines right here, right? So I think to me, oh, we're basically at that 50%. What are you at? Okay, and that's what we wick. Look, 305 is confirmation for me to believe that 334 would be next, okay? If we break 334, I see green, 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 red, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing to 505. All right. I think arguably I can probably draw a line around that 425. I don't think there would really be any harm in doing that, but I'm actually not. What's the bottom of you? Are you 425 as well? 420. Yeah, look at that. So between 420 and 425, I can see a little bit of a resistance, but oh man, I think right now the two immediate lines are 305, and again, you can see we're creeping over it after hours, but I care more about regular hours, right? But 305 and 334, you take that out and you can probably do 425 and 5 from there. So, real interesting things are happening here. I think the important question is that almost twofold. Number one, what's going to happen with all this BBAI volume? If it dumps, that might be a good thing for Bullfrog. It took me so long to not type in Guard Force AI right there. Um, if it dumps there, it could be an advantage here, and maybe they gain some of the value, some of the volume. Excuse me. If it dumps there, it can also drastically dump here as well, right? So it's almost a double-edged sword, not quite a guarantee move, right? But I would want to look at BBAI's volume. Truth be told, I would want BBAI to have good volume so that people keep thinking to themselves, I can't believe I missed that one again. Let's come to this one and load up, and hopefully it does the same thing, right? It's that FOMO mentality that you use to your advantage instead of letting it eat your brain and do so much more damage than good things, right? But we talked about the attempt of the moving average on the daily. You can see it on the weekly right here. That 334 is pretty much lining up with that 100 moving average, right? You know, I'm never here saying my lines are perfect or good or any of that. To me, these two are basically the same. And yeah, if you can get over that little hump, to me, you might as well call it this line because that'll actually put you nicely over the blue 100 moving average. You get over that, you're over all on the weekly, obviously all on the daily, and then red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 green, green, green to 505, right? So, and again, solid MACD, even better RSI. I would like the MACD more if it was positive. Hopefully that is what happens. And then, yeah, just basically give me about 1 million shares a day and we'll be where we want to be on the weekly, right? And look at that weekly volume break of the 50, right? So I'm liking the daily, I'm liking the weekly. Hopefully this thing can copy and run, right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much. SMCI. Ah, man. Okay, we're 23 minutes, but let's just look at this thing real quick. So earnings has not happened yet. I think we talked about SMCI earning. 2-3, that was early. I can't, okay, it should be soon. I don't know when it is. There might have been some more detailed convos on that. I still don't actually see anything happening right here and nothing crazy after hours. So, to the technicals, you break the 100, you go to the 200, like I said in the opening thoughts, and that's a big move to right there, right? I think earnings is probably what's going to make us fly up there or potentially bring us back down to, if I had to guess, 32-ish. Maybe even as low as this line, maybe. I don't know how that's there's a lot of moving averages right here, right? So I could see good earnings just taking us off. I thought it'll lose too, but just kind of as I look at the cluster, I can see it actually coming to about 29. And at that point, 29 and 27 are close enough. You know what I mean? So this one's going to be about earnings. I think I like this line right here as the alert. If you can get over basically 38 something, let's just call it a flat 39. Number one, you'll be a lot closer. Look, it's crazy to me that a stock does a forward split and then tanks to down there. All right. I think there was some auditing nonsense and stuff like that. I don't really remember the headlines. I just remember the reaction. But forward split is a good thing. And in my eyes, this 39 line takes us back to the good days of the forward split and maybe can make it actually a pretty fast run to that 55 right there, right? When you look at the weekly as well, there's actually room to go to this right here, which is at 45, and then room to go to this, which is at 59, 60. I can see it coming down a little bit and kind of matching that 55, right? From there, look, please don't focus on this right here because that's significantly higher than the $36 stock that we're looking at now. But red, 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 sorry, green, 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 red, red, red could make a real big green, 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 especially with the moving out, the lower indicators looking like this, right? 50-day lines kind of coming back down to reality. MACD has been as high as a 98 on the weekly and right now is as low as a 57, right? RSI, not MACD, sorry. And then MACD is still negative right now, but just give me a little bit more and it'll be positive, and that's a decent divergence on both, right? So look, overall, that's a fancy way of saying watch earnings and go from there. But yeah, earnings can make this thing go to 55 plus, or I think it'll bring some high 20s as a low side. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.